What's going on, Spitfires? Welcome back to another episode of the Spitfire Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Lemunian, the Spitfire Coach, here to pass on some wisdom, inspiration, and hopefully get you fired up in your life, at work, wherever you are. Today, I have something to share, as I always do after I have amazing conversations with people, and it comes down to motivation. What happens when everything that you have done in your life to get motivated, to get things done, stops working? This happens so much when we transform, when we learn, when we grow. The things that used to work for us in our past don't seem to have the same effect. And in fact, we might have friction, we might have stress, we might have pain related to this. And this came up actually in two places today. So I am part of an amazing community called Bold House. And they focus a lot on, doing business with corporate, but really like the inner mindset that it takes to be an entrepreneur. And it is not an easy task. And so part of what we focus on are our motivational maps. It's a really cool assessment if you ever get the opportunity to take it. I am not certified in it, but I highly recommend it. There are basically 3 different areas that you can have a strength in. So it's achievement, relationships, or what I have all 3 of my motivations around, which is in growth. And I had to learn that if I wasn't in survival mode, which I was probably up until about 2 years ago, to be honest with you, I had to have something else to lean on. So just like as background, I have always had this need to take care of myself, need to pay for things. And, as a kid, I didn't always have resources. I had to figure it out. And when I was, in elementary school, my dad used to give me lunch money. And I remember going to the corner store and buying 3-for-1 Entenmann chocolate chip bar. No, they weren't Entenmann's. They were Tasty Cake chocolate chip bars. And I would eat 1, maybe 2 if I was hungry. And I would keep the third as a snack, and I would pocket the other $2. So my dad would give me $3. I would spend $1. And in Jersey, I don't think there was actually a food tax, so I didn't have to pay extra. And so every day I was pocketing $2. So by the end of the week, I had $10. And as like an 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kid, that's a lot of money to play with. And my parents could never figure out, where is she getting all this money from? How is she the only one with cash on hand? And I was sacrificing, nutrition. Honestly, I don't know how the school allowed me to do it. I was like, look, I brought my lunch. I'm eating chocolate chip bars. I wonder if my parents actually knew I did this. And so I was sacrificing my energy, my nutrition, my well-being in order to survive. And I did this in college, where I sacrificed sleep. I sacrificed nutrition. I mean, I was restricting eating. I was working at night. I was taking classes during the day, and I was making hats in between and going into the city, and I had no immune system. And then when I got into the working world, I, had student loans that I had to pay. I had expenses that I had to pay. And living in Washington, D.C., it was super expensive. And I got paid once a month, and I lived on my own in a basement apartment, and I was just scraping by. And there were countless stories like this. I mean, I could write a book, and I think I did write a book in 2018 about it. But I realized 2 years ago, I transformed my business. I made really key decisions in my personal life that parlayed into a new mindset around my business, about the impact I wanted to have, around how I felt in the clients I was working with. And it literally was like an overnight change once I made a decision to leave a relationship and really trust myself. Because a lot of the decisions I made in both of these long-term relationships was, let's be safe. Let's be safe. Let's hold off, because that's not a safe decision. And so in making those decisions in the guise of being safety was actually leaving me in an unsafe emotional space and financial space. So when I made that decision 2 years ago, I found myself getting the highs of, closing business and making things happen. But on the flip side, I was not as motivated to create. It was coming from a different place, and I couldn't pinpoint it until I had this assessment done. And this is not, me promoting it. I make no financial gain from it, just so you know. But what became clear to me is all of my motivation was around growth. Not so much even in myself, but in the growth I could create for other people, for other businesses. How could I create more impact? How could I create more opportunities for the coaches that were working for me? How could I create more opportunity for the leaders in how they could pay it forward and implement these changes and skills? It became so clear to me that when all of those things come together, I'm in flow, I'm more productive, and I'm doing more work. And here's the thing, I'm working less. I was so clearly able to define who I was by understanding what my motivation was. And so I bring all of this up to say that when you are in the midst of change, when you feel like I can't figure out how to motivate myself, it's not working, you are on the precipice of a huge change. You are in the space to up level. And this is where it is so important to take the time to listen to yourself, to go to a quiet place, to take really good care of yourself, hydrate, listen to some good music, put some comfy clothes on, and just journal, just channel it. If you don't have access to this assessment or you're not ready to go there, this is a great way to start on your own. And all you're going to do is ask yourself some curious questions. What is most important to me now? What do I want to create for the future? When I look back on this moment of my life, what do I want to remember it for? We need to create future neural pathways so we know what to aim for. When we can visualize what we want to create, our brain starts filling in the gaps. But if we don't give it something to put its energy and focus on, it's going to fill it up with things from the past. And as we've already identified and addressed, our past got us to where we are, but it's not going to work for us where we're going because we have evolved. We have shed those things. And this is that next layer of it. This is that old default mindset that we have to address and refresh. So this is how to start. If you feel like this is not working for me, think about, well, what am I trying to accomplish? What am I trying to create? What am I trying to build? What am I trying to connect together? That can help get you started. And then always make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people who are challenging you to be better, who are encouraging you to be the best version of yourself, who already see the amazing potential that you might not have been able to access yet. Who you surround yourself is what becomes your energetic force field. And so if you have people around you who are pulling you down, it's time to start seeking out and attracting in new energies, because who you surround yourself with is going to be who you become. Their energy will seep into you. So if you want a different frequency, you got to start going to different places. You got to start making friends with new people, joining groups. It's amazing. So take good care of yourself. Know that you are up to great things if you're feeling this way. You are on the verge of something amazing. Take care of yourself. Channel your inner voice. Get curious. You don't have to have the right answers. This is a starting point, and it's the beginning of many conversations that you're going to have with yourself to help bring that enlightenment, to help create that pathway in this future journey. If you are curious about anything that I've mentioned today, please feel free to reach out, Lauren@spitfirecoach.com. Happy to connect you with resources that I've mentioned. There are some amazing people doing great work that are there to help. In addition to my amazing team, this Bold House community and the mindset mapping or the motivational maps, great resources. We're going to keep the motivation going here. We're going to keep sharing our insights. And if you have any questions, hit us up, Lauren@spitfirecoach.com, or you can go to spitfirecoach.com/episode to check out this and other past episodes of the podcast and amazing resources. So to all the Spitfires out there, y'all keep being awesome.